So glad you're here. Welcome back. And for those who don't know me, they're new here, my name is Fabiana. Well, this is the second video in the series of Becoming the Change Master. And this second video, as I promised, is about awareness. Now, awareness is a huge topic. Awareness is something that all of us are striving for, to be more aware, be more mindful of our lives. So awareness is something that I would like to touch base today, because it is a topic that I think is the first step into the journey of creating change in your life. Now, the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to go is change. Change is what is preventing us to actually become or attain whatever we want in life. So the first thing we have to do to be able to begin that journey towards the goal and the life we want to have is have more awareness. And what does that mean, Fabiana, when you say having more awareness? Now, when I say more awareness, is to actually stop and observe your thoughts, observe what am I telling myself, what am I saying to me, to other people, how am I behaving, and what are the thoughts that come to me on a daily basis that are so unconscious that I don't even notice. So most of our lives are actually run by our subconscious. All of our daily activities, down to brushing our teeth and going to the bathroom, doing our day-to-day things, right? Those things are actually commanded by our subconscious, because those are behavior, habitual things that we do every day. And so are the thoughts we think. The thoughts we think create our behavior. Now, the beginning of this journey is to be aware of how are we running our lives. What am I doing every day? What am I telling myself every day? So this is the very first beginning of awakening to creating the life we want for ourselves. I left the last video with the quote from Albert Einstein. I've got in front of me as well. So, and the quote goes, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we used when we created them." Now, there's a lot to unpack here, okay? Now, let me just touch on the surface a little bit about what he means here. So there's two things he's saying here: that we can solve the problem and that we created the problem in the first place. Now, this is huge for me, and it was huge when I realized that was happening in my life. And I realized this at a very young age, actually. It wasn't something that I realized now, but I realized this when I was really young, and I took action and I took responsibility for the problems I had in my life, or the problems I think I had, or the problems I created in my mind even before they manifested. Because our minds are running wild with fears, with things that haven't even manifested, things that haven't even occurred. But yet we are fretting, we are getting all stressed, we have this anxiety around things that hasn't even happened, or things that are happening that we are creating extra things in our mind, creating anxiety around the subject. Now, I'm not undermining the feelings that we are having, the experience we're having at that particular moment. That is very, very, very real for someone who's in that particular moment, that particular situation. Now, that is not to undermine of what the experience here. What the awareness is to actually create a distance between the thoughts and between what is actually happening, and become the observer. Now, what Albert Einstein is saying here is that if we want to solve the problem that we experience right now, we won't be able to solve that problem with the current mind. Okay, so these actually go in line with his other famous quote that so here is a prime example that if I keep doing the same things, my habitual things every day in, day out, I'm going to experience what? The same results, the same problems, the same job, the same people in my life. Everything is going to be status quo. Now, what is required here is actually a transformation. And that is becoming aware that we are the masters of our own life. We are the directors of the movie we are acting in, which is called life, in my view. So I have this view that life is it's a big movie we are acting in, and we are the lead actor in this movie. And we have the ability to act, to direct, and to cast other actors and, you know, supporting actresses. You know, we have the ability to choose where we're gonna film this this movie. So, you know, like it's all on me and you to create the world and the movie we want to be in. So when I realized this, it was incredibly powerful for me to realize that I was the owner of my own destiny and that I had the ability to choose. So in the last video I shared with you, if you haven't watched my last video, just go back to the last video, and I'll leave you the link under the description box so you can watch it. So in the last video I was sharing my story that when I was about 14, 15, my family picked up and we all moved to Japan. So you know, when I arrived in Japan, I was faced with a huge challenge in front of me. And being a teenager, it's like, it was a really huge shock for me. So what I encountered was this huge challenge that was calling me to learn a new language, to upgrade my thinking in terms of cultural behaviors and expectation of society, you name it. It was a completely shift for me of the environment, and that was a huge motivator for me. Now, and that didn't come with like comfort, you know, being very at ease and being, you know, liking my environment at first. It actually started, you know, me resenting my parents, me resenting where I was, resenting the people around me. I didn't like the place. I didn't like what I was doing. I wasn't going to school. So I was like very, very dissatisfied. I was very uncomfortable. I did not want to be there. So what did I do in that moment? I remember this day that I was sitting at this rice field that I was looking at, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna make this work for me. I'm going to make it. And at that moment, I saw this movie being played in front of me, that I was speaking Japanese, that I was having the job that I wanted, that I was being able to actually be the owner of my life. Because, you know, when you're a teenager, you kind of like, you don't want to be, you know, having your parents telling you what to do. You know, things like that. I was dreaming of my own independence. I was dreaming of being successful. I was dreaming of, you know, being part of the society in Japan. And that for me was the beginning of me creating this trajectory that I eventually started on. So, and began with me having an awareness that, hey, I don't like this, but I'm gonna make something worth for me or out of this discomfort, out of this dissatisfaction. I'm gonna make something worth. I'm gonna make something that it is worth living. You know, I just wanted something that was mine and that I was proud of. That was the beginning of my awakening to this understanding. That awareness begins by understanding where you are at and where you want to go. Now, the other thing that I want to touch on this video is the ability to see pain, discomfort, dissatisfaction as an asset and not as a distress. Because a lot of us, we think when we are in pain, when we are in discomfort, and when we're not enjoying the moment, we think that is something to blame. It is something to run away from. Now, that is our natural behavior, and there's a natural thing in that, that we run away from things that it's not nice, that's not comfortable. But in that particular situation, I think there is an opportunity for all of us to look at us, look at who we are and what we want, and use that as a springboard to create a momentum for change. Now, it's not to say that, feeling pain, discomfort, it will create suffering. If we stay in that status too long, if we stay in this pain, in this loop of like, poor me, I hate this, I hate so-and-so, I hate my job. So that actually creates suffering. And no one wants to be suffering in life. No one wants to endure that kind of feeling. So my advice and what I noticed for myself is that the quick as we can get out of that mind status, the better will be for our success and for our ability to actually create momentum for a positive change. Now, what I would like to really leave this video with is two things. One of them is tools and strategies for how to create this awareness in your life, and two is to give you sort of a homework that you can sit by yourself and ask 2 power questions. Okay, now let me just give you a little bit of a strategy and a couple of tools that will help you create this awareness in your life. Now, one of the things, I didn't do this back then when I was a teenager, but I started doing this recently, which is meditation. Meditation is something that really allows us to really level up the level of awareness that we have about who we are and what are we thinking. So I really recommend meditation as a tool to increase the awareness of our lives and to understand like what's going on inside of us, what's going on in our minds. Now, the other tool is, one is writing, the other one is actually speaking. So these are 2 modalities that you can choose, whatever suits you. But for me, at the time, I really enjoyed recording my voice when I was a teenager. I actually enjoyed like recording myself. Like I had a tape recorder and I used to record it, or even speak out loud in the mirror. And speaking or writing, it is a magnificent tool to create awareness, because the words we're speaking and the words we're writing reveals a lot about what's going on internally. And once you write it or record it or even hear yourself speaking in front of a mirror, you create a separation between what you're saying or what you're reading, and then you understand. You go like, whoa, okay, wait a minute, what did I say just there? So at that particular moment, you are going to pick up some things that will be very interesting and will open more and more your awareness of what's going on in your head. Okay, so these are the couple of tools that I suggest that will help you create more awareness in your life. Now, the two questions that I would like you to sit and answer, I call them the two-part questions, is wherever you are in your life, is that might be, I want to lose weight, I want to have more money, I want to have a great relationship, I want to have this beautiful house, I want to travel the world, whatever that is that you want to have in your life that requires change, right? So I would like you to sit down and answer two questions for yourself, okay? So question number one, what do you want to do or be? So I think this question is a magnificent question to start opening our awareness and building that trajectory of where do I want to go, okay? So the second question is, what's holding me back? What's stopping me? Okay, so I'd like you to really sit and answer those two questions. Those two questions will help you understand and unlock some of the desires and some of the things that you were longing to have in your life. And the second question will help you understand what are the things, the limiting beliefs you have in your mind, and what are the barriers you have in front of you that you have to go through. And those will be some of the things that we will be able to tackle along through this series of videos where I'm going to share with you some of the step-by-step, how do you start building that trajectory that will create change, positive change and permanent change in your life. So that's it for this video, and I would like to leave you with this. And yeah, so please go through those questions, and I think you enjoy answering them, and I look forward to seeing you. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me some thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and click on the bell so you can receive notifications when I post new videos. I talk to you soon. Bye bye.